Reminded me of that wonderful scene where James Bond arrives in Skyfall in Macau. Right.
So, The Colour Purple, I remember seeing the original version when I was a lot younger, 1986 version, which famously got 11 Oscar nominations with 0 wins. I'm pretty sure that's still a record that it holds. This new version is a musical version, which, like the recent Mean Girls film, was taken from the film to the stage as a musical, and now it's back to a film again. It's directed by Blitz Bazawule. Sorry, I've totally butchered her name. And it's got an all-star cast, which you'll see in this clip.
You got to stand up.
I know my sister somewhere in the world. Someday we're gonna meet again.
Keep your head held high, just like Mom taught us.
This time I'll be free from you and then turn to creation.
I'd die before I let that happen.
Good. That's just the going away present I've been needing.
Oh!
Okay, Scott, carry on. I think we may have some different views on this film. I think I might be the outlier, but you go first.
Yeah, so for me, I had been looking forward to this film for a good couple of years. It's been delayed quite a bit for one reason or another, but it's finally come. And yeah, I'm a big fan of musicals, which I know actually pretty much all of us, I think, here are musical fans. So I was looking forward to seeing what this version would be, knowing that the story is quite deep and there's a lot of serious drama involved. So I wasn't sure how that was going to translate to a musical, but it does very well. This film tells the story of a young girl who is basically taken by an older man to become his wife, and she is separated from the people she loves. And it's about the abuse that she suffers and the people that she meets along the way that try to help her. I did enjoy this very much, with some slight reservations. So in terms of the performances, pretty much outstanding across the board. You've got Danielle Brooks, who got an Oscar nomination for her supporting role. I think Taraji P. Henson deserved one too. I think Coleman Domingo deserved one. But then you've got a whole stacked cast. Louis Gossett Jr., Corey Hawkins, you've got Little Mermaid, Halle Bailey, loads of other people. It's led by Fantasia, who plays the main role. General audiences may not know who she is, but she won, I think it was season 3 of American Idol many, many years ago.
Oh, okay.
And to be honest, hasn't really done much since. I've never been a big fan of her voice, speaking or singing, and that kind of holds in this as well. I know she's a good singer, but there's something very nasally about her that is just a little bit annoying for me. So, supporting cast amazing. Fantasia, good, but I would have preferred someone else maybe. The story is harrowing, and if you've seen the original, you know what it's going to be like. This holds true again, except it has the lighter tones of having song and dance to break it up. In terms of the technical side of it, production amazing, costumes amazing, the singing and dancing in general is fantastic. This is just a very, very well-made movie. I do think it's a little bit too long. There was a point later on in the movie where I thought it was going to end, and it carried on, and then there was another song, and then another song, and I was like, wait, when is this going to end? I thought the story was wrapping up, but no. I wanted this to be one of my favourite films of the year. I had hugely high expectations for it. It's not going to make my top 10 of the year, but I was still very impressed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. Emma?
Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I think it is a shame that it wasn't plugged more as a musical. As you say, it seems to be the thing at the moment to trick people into seeing musicals.
It was actually a surprise to the illustrious Mrs. Movie Man that it was a musical. That passed it by completely. Yeah.
I was watching the trailer. I mean, that gave me goosebumps. I was like, I'm really looking forward to seeing this now. And I went into it. I was finding it very interesting, but I was like, I'm not really getting quite that emotional hit I was expecting to get and I literally thought that, and then 2 minutes later, me and half the audience were sobbing. I was biting my lip because I felt like I was going to start wailing with crying. And I mean, Danielle Brooks playing Sophia, I thought she was absolutely amazing. And I mean, her performance, if she doesn't win something, I'll have to start a riot or something. I don't know. I thought the chemistry between everyone was fantastic. And, as you say, just the whole production of it, I thought was incredible. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, I can't argue with a lot of what you guys say in terms of, I mean, it's a movie that's full of life and colour. And I agree with you that the production design, the lighting, as a technical film to look at, some of the scenes were simply wonderful. The bit where Shug Avery arrives on the boat across the water to what's his name's bar was
Harpo's bar. Yeah,
that's right, Harpo's bar was simply wonderful. It reminded me of that wonderful scene where James Bond arrives in Skyfall in Macau. Right, that same sort of atmosphere and so on was so good. And that scene that we saw in the clip there around the dinner table, where certain people become more assertive, I thought that was really terrific. So there were moments in here which I thought, wow, that's really great cinema, and I enjoyed it. But overall, it just didn't connect with me personally, and I think I'm probably going to be an outlier on this given some of the views from elsewhere on it. But I think one of the reasons here is I went to see this with the illustrious Mrs. Movie Man sitting next to me, and I know films which absolutely upset her are ones which have any sort of child abuse or marital abuse. And as this thing started, I thought that they haven't toned this down at all. In fact, one of my criticisms of the film was, is this really a 12 certificate film, given the themes of incest and child abuse and marital abuse and violence against women? And it just thematically, the thing felt, I know 12 covers everything from just above PG to just before 15, but this one felt right at the top towards 15 to me, just in terms of the mood of the film and so on. So I spent a lot of the film thinking, is the illustrious Mrs. Movie Man going to lean over to me and say, I can't stand this anymore, I'm going out? And that set me on edge to not enjoy the film. As it was, I can't figure her out sometimes, right? The marital abuse and the whacking that went on didn't bother her in this particular film, and she enjoyed it, and she gave it 8 out of 10. Right, I just couldn't get connected to this film at all. So I've actually given this a 6 out of 10 because it just didn't connect with me. Emma,
I went 8 on this
8
one.
8 out of 10, so that's 14. Scott,
I also went 8 out of 10.
Okay, so that's 22, which gives us... I'm glad I didn't drag it under, because I would get all sorts of shit from everybody on the internet, I'm sure. So that gives us a Flickering Dreams score for the new version of The Colour Purple of 7.33, making it a hit.
Still sounds odd hearing new version of Colour Purple. Sounds
Yes,
it does.